right, Lucifer, we're almost there. Here's where we're going to be staying for the next few days. This is the Mica cabin from Cabinscape. It is in Lanark County. This is an off-grid cabin. We'll walk you through all the details and what exactly that means, but it is one of their more remote options. Hi, Indy. Indy and Daddy went ahead of us to get up here. And check out this view. Imagine just sitting here, you got your fire going, and this is what you see. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so let's give a quick tour. When you come in the door, on the left, we have this little couch area here. On the right, you've got a little bench right by your floor mats and an incredible view through this window. They do offer life jackets and some supplies up here because there is the ability to go paddling. You can see over here, got the canoe down there. There outside, you've got a little seating area. Indy's just relaxing over here. And a barbecue, propane barbecue. There is an indoor kitchen space here that offers a sink. Now during the on season, there's water. We are in the off season right now, so instead of having running water, they've provided us with some jugs of water. But if you come during the on season, that will have water running. And stove and mini fridge. This little table here will work as a dining table. If you're wanting to sit in here and eat, there are 2 stools here for that. They provide everything that you need as far as the basics. You've got your paper towels, your dish tray, some dishes and cutting board, mugs. Even up here, as far as like the aluminum foil, salt and pepper, like all the basics are there and ready for you. Over here we have 2 beds. There's the bottom bed here, which also has some books and some board games, depending on what you want to do to occupy your time. And a top bunk, you have to use the ladder over here to get up, but that would offer an incredible view of its own. I absolutely love here, just from the bottom bed, the huge window here to just really enjoy and embrace that view. And of course, if you're gonna be staying for multiple days, a bathroom is the thing. And for those of you who haven't stayed off grid before, you might be wondering, how do you do that? This is the composting toilet. So the composting toilet is there. They do offer toilet paper. Basically, it's set up so that the liquids go down the front and the compost, the solid waste, and the toilet paper go down the back. They do provide hand sanitizer as well. And there is a little light for at night. That's powered by solar or a generator if the battery is running low. But that is it. It is literally a tiny cabin. It is the most beautiful little place I have ever seen, and I am absolutely in love. What do you think, Goose? Yeah, you want to go out and explore, don't you? All right, let's go. Let's go. Of course, one benefit to being out in the middle of nowhere, especially when you are camping with a reactive dog, is the ability to just wander the paths, the trails, even the roadways. Like this is a roadway during the year, but it gets too muddy and gross in the off season. So it's closed to vehicles right now. It leads into the cabin, but it's the perfect place for him just to get out and sniff and explore. And because this is such a remote option here, there's nobody else to be found. So we don't have to worry about him coming across triggers. In his case, that's strange men. But I know a lot of other people who follow us, you have dogs that are reactive to people in general, reactive to cars, reactive to other dogs. If you come here in the off season, you're free of all of that. So it's a beautiful morning here at the cabin. John and I are enjoying coffee. We moved the little table so that we're in the sun, which is awesome because it feels so good. Speaking of the sun feeling good, look at this one. He is just soaking it up. He thinks it's the greatest thing ever. We put him out here and he just doesn't want to move. So, lucky for him, we have no plans that he has to. He can just sunbathe and love it up all day long if he wants. Alright, we're going to share with you guys this cool coffee contraption that we got for Christmas. And it uses like the little Keurig pods. So you just put it in the top, and then this clear piece here pushes down and acts like the, like it pierces through the top of the Keurig pod. You add your water. And then similar to a French press, when you put this piece in here, it forces the water through the Keurig pod and makes your coffee. Now you'll notice we took the little plunger piece out of a cup. That's because we do put it in warm water, which helps to make sure that it swells up enough to make a seal. So I recommend that if anybody's trying it, but this is apparently available on Amazon. Obviously it's not for backcountry trips, but we absolutely love it when we're front country camping or at a cabin like this.
Sounds like a cappuccino machine.
And there you have it. Hot coffee. I mean, the benefit of cooking is when it comes with that view. Who could complain? And of course, the beauty of having a pass-through from the kitchen inside to outside is that you guys can enjoy your food either way and serve each other either way. Right, Lucifer?
Dinner is served. Okay. Good boy.
He's not spoiled at all, I swear.
Good boy, Ninny.
Indy's chowing down here by the fire. So one of my favorite parts about this spot is that you've got the fire pit just outside the cabin, but like, look at the view you enjoy while sitting around the fire. Who wouldn't fall completely in love with just sitting and enjoying that? Indy down here. Whoa, let me see if I can get you guys to see him. He's curled up against my chair. He's fast asleep. He thinks it's great. Lucifer's up there. I don't know why. He was down here earlier.
Hoping someone will fall from the barbecue.
Yeah, maybe he's hoping for barbecue food and that's why he wants to stay up there. But we let them determine where they want to be. And like you see down here, in these leashes there, like we don't take them off, but we let them determine where they want to be. So if they want to be hooked to our chair, cool. If they want to be up hooked to something up there, cool. Like, we follow their lead. We are changing our mind about where we want to be. Hey, buddy. Let me turn this around so you guys can see. Yes. It's the response when he's saying he can hang out wherever he wants. He pulled and fought because he wanted to come down here. We brought him down, and he just wants to sit in Mommy's lap. We're still sitting by the fire, having a good time, but he just wants to be with Mom. And you know what? When we come on trips like this, like, it's all about experiencing and bonding with them. So if I'm sitting by the fire with him in my lap, I'm all for it. He's a good boy. You enjoying the fire, bud? I love how you have a beer and Daddy doesn't. And Goose has a beer. Well, last final sweep, saying goodbye to this place. The adventure here is over, but that doesn't mean our adventure's over, because we decided to extend this whole adventure just a little bit. We're going from here to go check out Murphy's Point for hiking, which is close. And then we will continue on to Mew Lake, which is kind of like a halfway-ish point between here in Lanark County and back home. So we decided to break it up a little bit with a stay somewhere else. So let's get going. What do you think, little man? Are you ready for the next adventure? You goofus. Okay, so Murphy's Point Provincial Park is closed for the season. It's not a winter camping area, but you can walk in with your pets and enjoy the trails and check out the park that way. So let's head in and take a look, and we'll share with you guys what we find. Now, Indy is still recovering. For those who follow us on social, you know that he had a bit of a leg injury. So John has taken Indy to go get some gas, while Lucifer and I explore the park. So we will share Murphy's Point Provincial Park for anybody who might be interested. Let's go, Goose. Sniff, sniff, sniff. All the smells. This here is an important note and an important lesson to kind of talk about, is that really anywhere in Ontario, ticks are an issue. So when you are taking your furry friends out and about, make sure that you are using some sort of flea and tick preventative, whether you prefer to go in a more natural route or with a medication from your vet. And we always carry a tick key, because if something happens and we did encounter and notice a tick while we were out and about on the trails, I know I can get it off of them ASAP. Let's check out some of the campsites. Obviously, with the time of year, the vegetation is going to be pretty minimal. Trees are not grown back yet, but it's still a great time to just get in here and check out the sites and see what the campsites look like and whether there's any that we think might meet our needs when we come during the on-season. So let's take a look. So it looks like these sites are relatively easy to get into if you're coming with a trailer. That is an electrical site. You can see the little electrical box up there, that flashy yellow. Obviously, like I said, the vegetation is not here because of the time of year. But these, here's another one here. They're not going to be completely private. They are a little bit more open, but the convenience factor, like look at that, just pull right through. For those who are looking for that, it's a great option. You can see more over there, kind of in the distance. As I said, not the most private sites in the world, but I mean, I've also seen far worse, and it looks like from a convenience standpoint, they would be great for anybody with trailers or RVs. We are on the Loon Lake Loop Trail. And as you can see, it's literally got water views all along the side of the trail here, which is really beautiful. The trail itself is well mapped and marked to make sure that you know where you're going. There's also little ponds and areas like this, which this time of year, because people haven't been out as much to really disturb things, we're seeing a whole lot of birds enjoying those freestanding water spots. So it's kind of fun to be able to see all the wildlife and find out what goes on in these parks as far as the wildlife is concerned when we're not around. Okay, so another important point to make though is that during the winter season, like when there's actually snow on the ground, this is part of the ski trail here. So they do have groomed ski trails. Because these are groomed trails dedicated specifically for cross-country skiers, They ask that you don't hike them because you could disturb the tracks, which makes it unsafe for skiers, especially those that might be newer or a little less experienced. So like maybe a month ago or so, you wouldn't be able to walk this path like we are now. Obviously, nobody's skiing it right now, so it's a little different this time of year, but during the winter, this isn't a trail that is accessible if you do decide to come and check out the park. And of course, when you're going along the trails, you get some of these absolutely beautiful views to check out. And the trail itself goes right up to the water, so you can really kind of get up here and enjoy a first-hand view of how gorgeous this area is. Although, I will say, the ground is a little mucky, so dress accordingly if you're going to be going on any of the trails that go near the water. So in addition to the campsites that we're going to be showing you here in Hog Bay, they also have the cabins, which I know is enticing for some of you who, for whatever reason, are not able to go camping in a tent or trailer, or are no longer comfortable, or just want, you know, a little luxury. So this one is number 47. And you can see here, they've got everything boarded up for the winter, but there's a ramp. Whether you're dealing with a wheelchair or a stroller, that's a beautiful thing. Okay, here's the front, and you can see your picnic table here. As I said, it's boarded up for the winter, but check out this view. Like looking at your front window, or sitting at your picnic table, or even like, here's your fire pit, and you're staring out at that. I could get used to that. I don't know about you. Let's keep looking and see what else this park has to offer. And I should add that there are also campsites that offer that view of the lake. So here we're looking right next door. We're on site 49. You've got a pull-through site, makes it easy for parking if you have a trailer or an RV. And that's your view during the time you're here. So if you're looking for, not necessarily water access, if you're looking for a water view site you can enjoy, I honestly think that Hogs Bay at Murphy's Point would be worth considering. Okay, so we are coming up here to the beach in Hogs Bay. There is a beautiful playground here if you're traveling with your kids, and a walking trail alongside it. Lucifer's joining me. And up here you will find the beach area. Now we're not going to go down to the beach area. It is not a dog beach. And even though nobody's here and nobody's going to notice, I don't want to, you know, make anyone uncomfortable if someone else does come to visit. But that would be your beach area right there for swimming. I would say based on those racks there, that's where you're going to see your canoe and kayak rentals during the normal camping season. There's a picnic shelter up here. It is an absolutely beautiful place to hang out. I could see this being like a huge hit during the summer. Not far from the main beach, just down a little trail, you come across the amphitheater here. And check out the view. Like, I could imagine sitting here enjoying some programming, whatever the park's putting on, and just getting completely distracted by that beside me. That being said, it is a nice amphitheater setup here. They've got the stage back there and bench seating all the way up. Lucifer's checking it out too. And as I said, this is just off a trail, so when you come from the parking lot by the main beach, the trail will take you here. I'm not sure if this will come through as loud on video as it is for us, but just listen to the wildlife. So of course, I couldn't tell you guys I was giving you a view of what the campsites were like and only show you the drive-through, pull-through electrical sites. So we are on Hardwood Drive now in the Fallows Campground, which is the non-electrical area. The sites here are a little bit more spread out, which obviously will help with privacy. This is Site 101. Although it is still pretty open to the road from the looks of it. That being said, as I pointed out before, vegetation is going to come in. It is not here now. It is March. So that'll help also with the privacy factor. The road itself is a little bit more windy, a little bit more hilly, which depending on the size of your trailer could potentially cause some trouble. But just see up here, like all of this isn't campsite alongside us here. And then you've got one random campsite here. And then there's a whole lot of not campsite again until you get to the next one. So by spreading them out a little bit like this, it does create a much more private opportunity, even if the sites themselves aren't as private. I can't promise that that would be enough to stop a trigger if you have a reactive dog and they're going to react to people walking past. I know with Lucifer that would be an issue. But looking at this site as an example, we're at 103 here. Once again, Hardwood Drive in Fallows Campground. It is very open to the front. There is no arguing that this is open to the front. However, with it being on a less busy road, you aren't going to have as many people and vehicles going past. If you park your vehicle right across here, you can block off some of that, set up your tents strategically, even put up a tarp as a wall, as we've shown that we've done before. I affectionately call it the Lucifer wall when we're talking to people on TikTok. You could easily create privacy here. And when you're in further, let's say you've made this barrier behind you, all you have is trees. Like, it's not like you're seeing another campsite through here. So while they may not be the most private campsites right at the gate, like when you first come out, I'll turn around here again. As I said, there's your road. It's pretty open to the road, but you can create privacy to make this an ideal setup when you're camping with a dog, especially, you know, a reactive one. Trust me, I know. Right, Lucifer? You're a good boy. So on our way into Algonquin, the pups wanted to stop. Indy needed his meds. Lucy needed to go to the bathroom, so we found this little place called Costello Lake. And over here, just down from the sign, you can see just this beautiful view. It's just a tiny little trail down for people to see and enjoy. Really pretty little spot. But the reason that I'm sharing this, that some of you guys might enjoy, is if you're looking for just somewhere to hang out for the day, they've got garbages set up. So that, you know, if you're having your picnic lunch or whatever, there's picnic tables, a bathroom, places to park. It's a perfect little like day stop for an afternoon at Algonquin. So that is the Costello Lake Picnic Area. If you're in the area, check it out. Right, Lucifer? We're just gonna drive through, show you guys a little bit here. This is the Hydro Campground at Mew Lake. Just as we're, you know, driving through and checking out some sites potentially for ourselves. You've got the cabins. Those would be great this time of year because it is a little chilly this morning, I'm not gonna lie. The yurt. There's also a lot of electrical sites through here that if you had a trailer with heat, that would be great. You can kind of see through the back there. There's also some tent campers here. Kudos to them. We opted sleeping up here instead of a tent to do a car camping setup. meaning we set up our bed in the back of the Tiguan and got comfortable. But there are some really nice sights through here, although they are a little bit more open, especially this time of year. I think Lucifer just saw a dog. So they are a little bit more open, especially this time of year, but definitely doable. I'll show you guys some more of these waterfront sites along here. There's some absolutely beautiful ones to check out. If you are looking to get out in the spring, I highly, highly recommend coming out here and seeing just some of these sites that are available because they are right on the water. They are so gorgeous here. This is in the Hydro Campground. This is the little walk down to the dog area and the non-electrical sites. Now, this area is blocked off for vehicles at this point in the year. So they are asking that it remain unplowed. You can come in on foot, but there's no driving in here. However, of course, we are going to take you guys in and give you a peek. So it's Lucifer on the mission to see what's up here. So along here, you have some non-electrical sites on the water. There is 77. And then moving over here, we have, I believe, 78. They're quite open. If you're looking for privacy, they are not going to be the most private options. But they do offer an absolutely stunning view of the water. This one is 79. But you can see the road is right here as well. So that is a little problematic. But if you could ignore the road, for example, and come down here to the end, just keep walking in front of the, you've got your fire pit. And this view, this is site 81. But as I said, the road is right there. So while they are great and they offer an absolutely stunning view for you to check out, if you're somebody who is bothered by road noise, this is not going to be the ideal option for your trip. But it does offer, just to show you guys, if you're bringing in like a canoe, a kayak, you can get right down to the water here. Lucifer, you're not going swimming. Nice try, bub. It's all iced over right now, hence me not wanting him to be able to go out in the ice, but you do have that option right off the site here on site 81. But you do have that road. And I think that's gonna be the hardest part for a lot of people to get over, to still have the waterfront view. Okay, so we are obviously not here to swim because, well, it's March and there's ice on all the water. But if you came during the nicer time of year, this is your little dog-friendly area. Careful, bub, there's ice. Don't go in. This is your dog-friendly area where you can take your dog for a dip and enjoy the water. It is just off the main road. It's not like it's a big beach area, but it's definitely a nice little spot that your pup could come and cool down, which is always good to have. And it is designated, so it's not like you're going to get in any trouble bringing your pup here, because it is meant for our canine friends. He's still very curious about ice. He doesn't know what to think about it. Careful! But you can also enjoy that view, take a dip in the summer with your furry friend. Okay, so Lucifer and I are going to do the Two Rivers Trail. This is just a little 2.1 kilometer loop. It's not a very long one. It is just Lucifer and I this trip because obviously, as I have alluded to before in this video, Indy is still recovering from the injury to his back leg. We're not sure if he'll ever completely recover given his age, but that means hiking is kind of a no-go, at least for now. So I'm taking this one, burning some energy and getting them out here. Now I will say that the trail this time of year, especially with the weather we've had, is quite icy. So if you're coming out, if you're seeing this and you're like, oh my God, I have to go out next weekend, I would definitely pack gaiters if you have them. just to make sure that you have proper footing and you're not going to, you know, fall and get hurt, because we don't want to encourage anybody to fall and get hurt. But it is still maneuverable if you don't. So, like, I brought my gaiters, but I'm going to be completely honest, I left them in the vehicle because I just wasn't thinking ahead. So I'm doing it in my hiking shoes. And as long as I am careful and cautious and watching where I'm stepping, I'm okay. But if you have them, it's just added security, and safer is always better. So one topic we can touch on quickly here, because I know that we mentioned it on our social media accounts as well as on some of our previous videos, is the harness search for Lucifer. We did find one that fit. So those who haven't been following the journey, we've had a bit of a hard time finding a harness that fit him properly, because being a mixed breed dog, he doesn't fit into your standard body types. So we had to find something with a little bit of extra control and adjustability. So we have settled on this motor control harness here from RC Pets. And not only do you have the 4 control or the 4 adjustment points at each of these areas like you normally would in a harness, but this one has an additional adjustment point right down here, so that we can safely adjust the length of the harness to fully fit his body, and it is working beautifully for him. So if you do have a dog that maybe has an abnormal body shape, makeup, whatever you want to call it, a dog that is uniquely one of a kind, that's what I say with him all the time, then I would check them out. That's RC Pets motion control harness. Might be our view from a cliff that they say you have. Check it out, Goose. Yeah, well worth the hike. Look at that. Not that I'm surprised. Algonquin is an absolutely stunning place anyway, but what do you think, Goose? And just like that, we're back at the trailhead. So what do you think, Goose? Two Lakes Trail. So some parts were slipperies, some slushy. Most of it was pretty clear. But 10 out of 10, we'd hike again. Good boy. All right, so we're just getting back into the whole filming routine again.
Yeah.
And I want to thank all of you guys for being so patient with us. I know that we had some really heartfelt messages and replies to our update video. And we do have other big news coming soon, so stay tuned. And in positive news this time. But we were going through and we realized we have a few videos we filmed, but we hadn't edited and posted while we were dealing with, you know, navigating the loss of Dav and then of Indy and all of that. And when we started editing this particular trip that we took in March with Lucifer and Indy, we realized that we never did a roundup at the end.
No, we didn't. So
here we are. And it's obviously not March. But
no snow yet.
We do have some notes to help us make sure we don't miss anything, and we're going to do our best to sum it up still for you guys.
Yep. Okay, so a huge shout out to Cabinscape. This was a, what did you say, like a paid...
It was a sponsored trip. We were given the trip from Cabinscape in order to experience what it's like staying at one of their cabins and share it with all of you. So shout out to Cabinscape for the partnership, and we really enjoyed working with them, and we hope to do so again in the future at some point.
100%. Yeah, so getting to the Mica cabin, it's probably about 20 minutes away from Perth, Ontario. Beautiful little town. But yeah, it's when you arrive during the off months, or the off season, I should say, basically you have to walk in or sled in if possible, if you can. But in the normal seasons, you're able to get in there.
Yeah, there's a road, but it's not like a maintained road.
Yeah.
So during the off season, like there's no way a vehicle's actually going to make it through. During the on season, I would say like four-wheel drives, or those that are, you know, set a little higher that can navigate slightly rougher terrains would do well. I would still park and walk in if you had like a sports car or something, because it is a pretty rocky, uneven.
Yeah, yeah, and it was from the parking lot to the cabin itself. It was about a kilometer.
Yeah.
So yeah, regardless, you know what? If you're gonna walk it, bring a wagon or a sled or something like that. We didn't bring a wagon, but we learned the hard way.
And hopefully the beavers decide to play nicer for you guys, because we had kind of a unique situation, and it's not normal there. But I guess due to some beavers in the area, and of course, you know, wildlife, you can't control everything in nature, but thanks to some beavers there, a chunk of the trail was flooded for us, as you guys have already seen in the video. So we had very wet feet getting to it when we went. So yeah. I recommend, even if that part wasn't flooded, there's a lot of mud along the way. Like, it's not, you know, a clean trail. So I would recommend wearing some sort of like rubber boots or waterproof hiking boots or something for the walk-in, just to keep your feet dry and clean, because it is a little muddy, a little mucky in the spring, but it is well worth the walk-in.
Oh, absolutely.
So for those who don't know what Cabinscape is a company that creates and rents out tiny cabins. They're tiny off-grid cabins. So you don't have an electrical hookup. You don't have like, you're not connected to the greater grid. You're in the middle of nowhere in this little tiny cabin. And having seen our video already, you guys have seen kind of how they navigate some of that. So they have generators, they have solar hookup, they use the water in the area in order to be able to run water. So you get all the glamping luxuries of a cabin, but you're off grid, and that's better for the environment as a whole, which is great. And the little tiny cabin design was so interesting, because you don't need a lot when you're out on, you know, a trip or a vacation. And like, we weren't there to sit in the cabin the entire time, so you don't need this big fancy, you know, 10-room cabin just for a couple like us to go out and enjoy. So we absolutely loved it. We, as John said, we went to the Mica cabin, which is in Lanark County. But they do have cabins in other areas, like the Kawarthas, Calabogie, and they have quite a few in the Halliburton Forest and Wildlife Reserve, which is somewhere we have covered before here on the channel. So I will include that in the description, a link to that video, so that you can check it out. But it's just a really interesting experience, because you're in this tiny little off-grid cabin surrounded by wilderness, and for that one in particular, the Mica, like, you don't see anybody, which was great, being that we were with you know, a dog who is reactive, because we've talked many times on here about the fact that Lucifer is reactive, but we didn't have to worry about it at all, because you just didn't see anybody. It was your own private little space in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by nature, just you and the cabin and the trees and the water view. It was absolutely incredible. There is no running water during the off season, because things freeze, and that would be bad. But the owners of Cabinscape do make sure that there is water for you. So when you get there, there is filled water jugs. That's not something you have to navigate. You have to bring your own bedding, your own firewood, obviously your own food.
Yeah, and I know, like, during the peak season, they do offer bringing firewood for you at a price, obviously, but
they also have packages that you can purchase during peak season, which are different, like, and it changes occasionally, so I would check their website to see what they have available. But like, for a while they ran an adventure pup package. I believe that's back again now. where you would get like a tickless device for your dog and a bandana and like things that kind of welcome your dog in. They also had one that involved some local craft beer or wine, or like they just have these cute little packages you can add on to kind of elevate that experience a little bit more, especially if you're traveling for some sort of like celebration or
charcuterie board.
A charcuterie board.
Charcuterie board. There we go.
But yeah, it's a fun way to, like, if you're celebrating an anniversary or a birthday or something like that, that you can just kind of elevate that experience a little bit more. We will say that if you are a larger family, it might be difficult with the tiny cabin. There are 2 beds, as you saw in our video, the one at the bottom that we slept on, and the one at the top where a couple kids could sleep. But if you're any larger than that in terms of family, one little tiny cabin might be a little stifling, a little claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And then as far as pets go, obviously we don't share anything here on our channel that isn't pet friendly, because that's the entire focus of the Kas Pack, is traveling with your pets. And that is one thing about Cabinscape and why we were so excited to work with them, was to share with all of you guys that they not only have pet-friendly cabins, they have quite a few. So if you go to their website, there's the ability to filter based on pet-friendly specific cabins, and not all of them are pet-friendly, but those that are will allow up to 2 dogs to travel with you. So we went with Indy and Lucifer.
Yep.
And they absolutely welcome dogs, love having dogs there. They don't want the dogs climbing on like the mattresses and stuff, obviously, because that is shared between users, but it's a very pet-friendly space. And for those of you who do have a reactive dog like we do, being able to go somewhere that is in the wilderness, it is a little bit more remote. Mica is more remote than a lot of their cabins, but I highly recommend it because just the privacy we had was absolutely incredible.
And the view.
And the view, yes,
yeah.
The view was gorgeous, as you guys have already seen. And then you touched on Perth. Perth is a great place to go out and adventure, and actually while we were there, for those who don't know, I'm also a freelance writer outside of what we do with the Kas Pack. So I wrote a guide to visiting Perth for another website that I write for, so I'll add that in the description as well. And then that way you guys can check out kind of what you can look at Perth. But we had a fun time going through Perth too, just trying like the donuts.
Oh, the donuts. There's a couple breweries, just to let you know.
Yep.
There's also a distillery, but like, yeah, we kind of like our bevies.
And the donuts.
And the donuts.
Those donuts were pretty, like, we had heard a lot of people say you have to make sure to try the donuts, and I kind of, shrugged it off and was like, well, whatever, because obviously if I'm writing a guide for the place, I got to include the donuts everybody's talking about. But man, when we tried the donuts, there's a reason everybody's talking about the donuts.
Maple bacon donuts.
So after spending some time at Cabinscape, we did stop by a couple other parks. Now, we're not going to do a paw rating on these because we weren't at them long enough to fully be able to review them and give you guys the info. It was just kind of we wanted to break up the drive back because the drive to Cabinscape was a little bit longer, and we figured why not break it up on the way back.
Take advantage of it, right?
Exactly, take advantage of being out and about. So we went to Murphy's Point, and at that time, as you guys already know, Indy had suffered his injury, so he wasn't able to get up and walk around and explore the same. So we found a place that we could park, and John stayed with Indy to relax for a little bit and just kind of enjoy some quality time with him while I took Lucifer out to walk the park and walk the trails a little bit. Obviously, it was closed. Murphy's Point wasn't open at that point, but you can go into it in the off-season. They do have 5 trails and a 6-kilometer canoe loop, so there's a lot there to do. During the off season, they do have cross-country skiing and snowshoeing as well. Now, we came in kind of between the camping season and the cross-country skiing season, so we walked some of the trails and showed you some of that in the video. But the snow was already going away, but camping hadn't quite opened, so it was kind of that mid-season, but it made for a nice spot just to stop, and it's really close to the Mica cabin for anyone who just wants to get out and take a hike while camping there. Yeah,
I think it was just roughly about like 20 minutes away from each other, so it's not too far, and it was pretty convenient.
And we did share a little bit in the video of what the sites look like, but we will definitely return to Murphy's Point to do an actual review at some point in the future. We just wanted to give you guys a little glimpse of what we saw there, and to point out that it is a good place to stop if you are staying at one of those Lanark County cabins.
Yep.
From there,
we went to Mew Lake in Algonquin.
Yes, so that's the only part of Algonquin that is open all year round, I believe. So people are camping all winter long in their tents and their trailers there, which I think is absolutely great.
Props to them.
I love winter camping. He's just like, I've started to introduce him to it, but...
This is the first time I went to Algonquin.
Yeah. But no, I've started to introduce him to winter camping, and we're still working on that, but we're going to get him out winter camping more.
Oh.
But yeah, we went to Mew Lake, we explored a bit, we checked it out. There is a lot to do there, no matter what time of year you are going to Algonquin. As everybody knows, like, there are a ton of trails, there are beautiful views and lookouts on the trails. We did the Two Rivers Trail, Lucifer and I did, and shared with you guys some of the views from there. Absolutely gorgeous, well worth it. It was a relatively easy hike compared to a lot of the others that we've done. It's only just over 2 kilometers, so it's not very long. It was just a nice little kind of stop and visit. But we also found a picnic area that we were able to enjoy with Indy and kind of relax and have a little view there. Yeah,
that was a nice little cool spot. It was just outside of Mew Lake, and it was a nice picnic area, nice little view.
Picnic tables, bathrooms.
Pretty much, I think it did have charcoal spot, like those charcoal pit stand things or whatever, that you could actually do some cookouts.
I mean, it was close enough to Mew Lake that if you were camping, I probably wouldn't worry too much about going there. But if you wanted to go just for like a day trip and hang out there for a little bit, it's the perfect place to kind of, you know, settle in, have that lunch, and enjoy relaxing, maybe between a couple hikes or before or after you go hiking. It's kind of set up really nicely for those day users or day visitors. So at Mew Lake, in addition to waterfront and normal camping, and you guys saw some of the waterfront views were absolutely incredible. However, the highway is fairly close, so just warning for anyone. I know some people don't care about highway noise. Some people get really offended about being able to hear highway noise. Everybody camps differently. Everybody has their own preferences. But if you are bothered by the sound of traffic, the waterfront sites in Mew Lake are not going to be a good option for you, because the highway does run right along the end of that lake, so it travels really well. Some of the sites you can even see the highway and watch the vehicles going by. But they also have 4 cabins and 6 yurts, which is great for those who maybe want to try winter camping but aren't so sure about staying in a tent or a trailer. And of those, there is a pet-friendly cabin, which is number 37, and a pet-friendly yurt, which is 39, sorry. So those options are there. I will warn, getting pet-friendly cabins and yurts, as we've discovered, is very difficult, because there are so few that the competition is crazy to book them. So if you do want that, be prepared to play the 7 a.m. lottery. Now, there are a lot of other options for places that you can get out and explore and stay in cabins with your pets if you don't get those. Once again, I point back to Cabinscape. They do run throughout the off-season as well, and are a little bit easier to come by as far as being able to book them, because they're not as well known as the provincial park system at this point. Also at Haliburton Forest, which we already, mentioned, told you guys about, link in the description, they have cabins as well. So there are other options that you can look at, but it is hard to get cabins and yurts.
Yeah.
Especially pet-friendly ones. There is a dog beach. I use that term very loosely at Mew Lake. I mean, there's an area to take dogs swimming. It's not much of a beach compared to a lot of other places. Like, I wouldn't say plan your trip there for the dog beach by any means. We recently did an article on the blog that shared some of our favorite dog beaches, like Port Burwell, 6 Mile Lake, Lake Superior, McGregor, of course. There's 8 of them on that list. I'll also link that in the description. If you guys are specifically looking for a place based on a dog beach, I would go and look at that instead, because that is not the selling point of this park, that by any means. And I do want to warn you that there is a dog-free loop on the west side. So when you're booking your campsite, pay careful attention because there is a loop of campsites there where dogs are not permitted. Not only can they not camp there, they're literally not permitted in that space. So it is something that they have set up for people who don't want to necessarily camp with dogs around. Maybe they don't like the sound of barking, and kudos to them. It just means that anybody who's following our channel obviously is not going to be happy camping in that space.
To each their own.
Exactly. But we did drive through the park. I mean, what did you think of the sights?
The sights were really nice. There was like, quite a few. There's a few open sites, but there are a few private sites. But yeah, it was.
And we shared some of that drive in the video, so you guys can see some of it from there. Obviously, we are going to go back and do a full review. I want to do it in the winter, but I got to get somebody to agree to go winter camping with me.
Yeah, we can get a big old canvas tent, or a yurt, or a cabin, or we'll get it figured out.
But yeah, that's kind of the summary of this video. We don't have a whole lot to say, because it's been months.
Yeah, it's been months, and life has happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
and
plus
I mean,
we weren't at those campgrounds that long.
No.
So we couldn't really. We
experienced them, but we didn't really experience them enough to really review them and give you guys a rating. I mean, if I had to rate the Cabinscape cabin, which we stayed at, that would easily be a 5 paws. Like, I absolutely loved that cabin. I loved everything about it. The cabin we stayed at, there was a canoe, there was the dock, there, like, everything you could need was in that space.
Yeah, yeah. That was like probably like one of my biggest regrets is not taking that canoe out.
We forgot the life jackets.
Yeah.
Not our, like, they give people life jackets. I should correct that. They give people life jackets. We forgot the pets life jackets, and we won't take the pets out in the water without a life jacket. I'm a very firm believer that if we have to wear one, they have to wear one. So, oops. But now we've got a new routine that anytime we go anywhere, the dog life jackets are in the vehicle.
Yeah, and you said dogs in plural, so
stay tuned for our next video to find out what I just hinted to. But if you guys are not already subscribed,
spoiler alert.
We are going to be starting to publish more regularly. We do have a couple more videos already filmed that we just need to, go through and edit and share some adventures that we've taken. I know we've got Wasaga Beach, both the beach itself and the park, and we've got Long Point.
Oh, Long Point, yeah.
So those will be coming up. Stay tuned. And we've also got some adventures coming up. So there's a lot of great stuff coming. If you are not following us, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell, because that bell is going to tell YouTube that you want to see our videos, and therefore they will notify you when we publish something new. So if you're watching specifically, let's say you've always wanted to go to Long Point and you can't wait to see our Long Point review when that comes out, if you hit that bell, YouTube will tell you, hey, guess what, they just published, and you'll know that that new video is up.
Saying that, stay toasty.